What's up, guys? This is going to be a video slash review of the Glock 17 Gen 4. I just want to point out that earlier on I actually had a Glock 19 Gen 4, but I actually sold that to a friend of mine because I figured that, well, in concealed carry situations I didn't really think there was going to be that much of a difference between the 19 and the 17. I've got a friend that's got a full-size Glock 40 cal pistol, and I attempted to conceal that, and it was actually pretty comfortable. So I figured I would just get the full size instead, get 2 extra rounds per magazine, and get the slightly longer barrel. So this is going to be the unboxing of that pistol, the Glock 17 Gen 4. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Glock pistols or really just anything about them, they've been around for a very long time, and they're probably one of the more popular pistols you can get. They come in all different calibers, and they are favored quite a bit by different law enforcement departments. They're by no means like the nicest gun you can get. I mean, there's more expensive things out there, such as like the H&K Sig Sauer and even some of the Colt 1911s. I mean, there are nicer handguns out there, you know, as far as different finishes and better triggers and things like that. But the one thing that I really like about the Glocks is they're very good at what they do, and that is to, you know, be shot. And they're very reliable. And in my experiences, anyway, it hasn't really mattered what kind of ammunition I've used. I've had a couple issues on my Model 19. But that was because I was using some of the cheaper Russian steel-cased ammo. And that was only one time out of all the different times I had shot steel-cased ammo. So and you know, there are some people that have shot all kinds of different things and have never had any problems whatsoever. Whether or not that's true, I mean, I guess that's you'll have to just take their word on it. But me personally, I really have never had any issues at all with any kind of brass cased ammo. Like I said, the only issues I've had are with some of the tool ammo, the steel cased, and I think both of them were just failure to feeds. And you know, that could have maybe just been the magazine or even the ammo. But once I switched over to brass, never had any problems at all whatsoever. No hiccups. No failure to feeds, no failure to ejects, none of that. So this is the box that you're going to get when you get a Glock pistol. It fits like the Glock theme very well, I feel like. It definitely complements the look of the Glock, and it goes really well with the overall theme, I guess. So upon opening this guy up, you are going to get, you got a magazine here, another magazine here, and then one that is actually in the firearm, which will make for your third magazine. So I actually have got one of these magazines loaded, and then the other one is loaded partially with Hornady Critical Duty. Obviously it's not going to come loaded when you get it, but I've got mine loaded and ready to go. So 3 magazines. All of these actually hold 17. So I don't have any of the smaller capacity magazines. I know some of you guys in New York have got limits on what you can actually hold in a magazine. And some of that stuff changes. You know, these stupid laws change, and that might actually change later on. But the way that the 17 comes stock is 17 round mags. And it's got the steel feed lips, which is really nice, and it's encased in the polymer. The one thing I really like about that is you don't really have to worry about the feed lips getting worn down over time, or not really worn down, but their structural integrity is not really going to get compromised when you have these loaded all the time, like it would with some of the polymer magazines. So that's a good thing. And then you've also got the ambidextrous mag release cutouts on both sides, so you can actually move that around on the pistol. So, alright, you also get a speed loader. This I've actually used a couple times, and I don't know, I mean, it's okay. It's not really anything that I would consider great by any standard, but it is you know, it's free and it comes with it, so that's cool. Let's see, you also get some hand grips. I don't ever really use these. This is something that some people really like to use. Some of the thicker ones here will give you more of like a beaver tail, which basically means that on some of the model, the 1911s, you've got that part of the grip that kind of goes over a little bit over onto your over your hand like this. And you know, having the benefit of that is, you know, you can get really close to the barrel with without actually having the barrel or the slide come back and bite you, like some people talk about Glock bite, which is essentially when you're holding the pistol like this and the slide comes back and it cuts up your hand. I've never had that happen with any of my Glocks, so I don't really care too much to use these grips or anything. But one of the cool things about the actual grip holder is it also serves as a punch. So you can use this. It's polymer, so it's a little flimsy, but you can use this to help you take out like the trigger assembly and even pop out some of the pins that hold the removable back straps in place. So that's pretty cool too. And then on the back side here, you've also got an extra pin, and this is going to be for when you use some of the bigger hand or the bigger back straps. It just gives you a little bit more length, I believe. Just because the plastic is a little thicker. So, yep, and then all kind of comes together on this little thing here, which then also holds the grips. This is actually not come included. You have to buy this separately, but I bought this on Amazon. I don't remember how much I bought it for. I want to say like $7 or so. This actually is a metal punch, so it's virtually the same as this guy here. But this is metal and this is polymer, so this is more susceptible to bending, and I don't know, I feel like this works a little bit better. This is actually a really good tool to use when you're removing the back plate. You can get some with different designs, so this is really good at helping you remove that, taking out the trigger assembly, and if you really detail strip the Glock, this will help you also remove the striker and the extractor, so that's pretty cool. And then, let's see here, you also have, in the box, you get your cleaning brush, and then you also get a rod, which actually, let's see here, it screws together like this, and you can then use that to clean out your barrel. And then with this hole here, you can actually install a cleaning cloth, so as you're scrubbing the barrel out with this brush, the cleaning cloth will then pull out any debris that's been loosened up. So it's pretty cool that they give you this. So I use it actually. I prefer using a bore snake, but this works pretty well too. So, and then you've got your reading literature that nobody really reads. This is actually the test shots that were fired by, looks like, what's his name? Russell Murphy, and his signature is on there as well. And there's 2 of them in here, and these are just the test shots that were done at the factory in Georgia. You know, just for their quality control, I guess. So there's that. And I actually heard in some states you actually have to give them these test shots, and what they do then is if there's ever a crime committed with a handgun, they can reference back to the test shots of this particular firearm and you know, find out which firearm was used. So I'm more of a innocent until proven guilty kind of guy, so I don't really agree with that. I don't know, but some of you guys might, but I'm not really for that, just like I'm against registration. And then you have also got an important safety guide, or important safeguards rather. This is going to be like your user manual and stuff like that. Some of the reading material that you'll get might differ depending on where you're at in the United States. When I bought this gun at the gun store in Rochelle, Illinois, the gun owner told me that he had to give me some other piece of paper as well, which was basically, you know, don't give guns to kids and different things like that. So you might actually get some different reading material when you get your Glock pistol, depending on where you're at. And I know when I got my Model 19 there was a NRA sign-up sheet, and you would just fill that out and then mail it into them. But I have no desire to be an NRA member, so this did not come with that though. Okay, so moving on to the actual pistol. We're going to perform a quick safety check, just make sure there's nothing in it. So the pistol itself is very streamlined. This is a very popular handgun. A lot of people own, the 9mm variants of the Glocks. I mean, it's just like a Model 19. It's just a little bit bigger, but as I said before, the size difference to me was negligible. So I figured I would rather have, 2 more rounds per magazine and a slightly longer barrel. But on the pistol itself, you've got your, let's see if I can get in focus here. Maybe, maybe not. You've got your Glock branding, 17 Gen 4 Austria 9x19 on the slide. You've got your slide release, and then your mag release here, and then obviously your trigger. And then this is going to be your takedown switch, which I'll show you how to use in a little bit. And then towards the barrel, on the top part of that, you've got what says, if I can focus in on that, it says Glock AT, which is an abbreviation for Austria, and then you've got, to take down the pistol is actually very easy. 9x19. Once the trigger is depressed, obviously make sure it's empty. You pull back the slide a little bit. I usually grab it like this, and I'll pull back just a little bit until you can hear the first click, and then with both of your fingers, one on each side, you pull down on the takedown switch, release the slide, push it forward, and there you go, it comes right off. So it's very, very easy to disassemble, and the good thing about the Glocks is they don't really require a lot of cleaning. They're pretty much a weapon that you can fire mostly dry. I mean, I don't recommend you don't use anything, but you don't really have to worry so much about keeping them as lubricated as maybe some other pistols. Yeah, so this is going to basically contain your trigger assembly, your mag release, and your slide release. And you can actually buy a slightly more protruded slide release, which will help you, I guess, if you're I normally do the overhand, but this will help you give you a slightly better grip on that. And then on the actual slide itself, you've got your spring, your trigger, or I'm sorry, your barrel, and then you've got all the different mechanisms here which play into the safe action system that Glock markets. So what's really cool about that, now the one thing about these pistols that's really interesting, obviously, I mean, if you pull a trigger on a gun and it is loaded and cocked, it will fire. There's no safeties on Glocks, so a lot of people don't like that, but one of the things that I think is really neat is their safe action system. I'd say it's probably one of the safer systems out there for firearms that do not have safeties. It's, I don't know, I guess I've researched a little bit about it, but really quickly, to put the slide back on, all you do is you line up the grooves on the slide with the grooves on the lower assembly, and you just do so like that, pull it all the way back, and then just cock your pistol back like that. And I normally will keep the trigger depressed, pull it back again, make sure that your your reset is good, and then normally pull it back one more time and then pull the trigger. So it's very easy to disassemble and put back together. But back to the safe action system, one of the things that I've read, and a lot of people have told me about the Glocks, is, I mean, they physically will not fire unless the trigger is pulled. That there's mechanisms inside that will stop the striker from hitting the primer on the round, unless different pieces of movement in the firearm aren't met. So the trigger will then, engage something, and then that will then engage something else, which will then release the striker. So the trigger is really the only way this gun will fire. Now I'm sure if you, and there's videos of people hammering nails in with these things while they're loaded. Not a very good idea, but from what I have seen, they don't look like they like to fire unless the trigger is being pulled. Now with that said, I'm sure if the firearm was loaded and cocked and ready to go, if you maybe dropped it from a high enough distance, or subjected it to an immense amount of impact, like with a sledgehammer, I mean, it might go off. I have not tested that, and I don't ever plan to, but these are pretty, I mean, unless you pull that trigger, I mean, this thing is really not going to want to go off in any regular situation. So that's always good to know. And you do have the you do have this little middle piece sticking out on the trigger there, and then that with, you know, if you pull the trigger anywhere but directly in the middle, this trigger will just not pull. So that's another cool thing. But I don't know. I mean, I used to really not like how the Glocks didn't have safeties. I figured that that's something that I would really like to have, and maybe that was just because I wasn't too familiar with concealing firearms that were loaded and stuff like that in the beginning, so it kind of made me a little nervous. I figured I would just carry it in amber, which is basically just ammo in the magazine inserted into the firearm, but it's not cocked. So all that would need to be done in a situation where you need to use it is you would just pull the slide back and then go to town. And almost all of my friends would give me crap for that, and even my other friend, who's also a law enforcement officer, told me that that's really bad practice, and I guess the training that he was given was also reflecting that. So I don't know. I don't really care too much anymore about that, honestly. I'm not really too worried about it, and it's in a holster, you know, and I don't really worry about the trigger accidentally being pulled, because the way that some of these holsters are designed kind of prevent that. So it's I don't know. I mean, a lot of law enforcement officers do it, and I never really hear about any stories about their guns going off unless, you know, they were trying to pull it out the wrong way, you know. But just being loaded in a holster, I think you're pretty safe, and you know, I've gotten pretty comfortable with that. So, but yeah, this is the Glock 17. It is the Generation 4 model. It's a very nice pistol. A lot of people have got mixed feelings about Glock, but the only thing I really have to say is if you haven't shot one, I would maybe give it a chance. A lot of people don't like the grip angle, and that's okay, but one of the benefits to that is you get a really high access on the bore, which in turn helps with a bunch of different things. So, you know, and like I said, law enforcement and all that, they use these like crazy, so I'm sure if they were subpar, that you know, a lot of these different departments and organizations would probably not issue them. But to each their own. The only thing I really ask of people that haven't fired one or actually held one is to, well, fire one and hold one, and maybe that'll change your mind. But in my experiences anyway, I have nothing bad to say about Glock. In fact, I would say that I would trust my life with it, honestly. And I don't really own a lot of firearms, so I don't really know that I could say that about any other ones, but you know, they're reliable, and I think that they're priced pretty well, and they're just really good at what they do. So hopefully I can get some other firearms to show you guys, but for the time being, this concludes my Glock 17 Gen 4 review. I hope you guys liked it. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Like my video if you liked it, disliked it if you didn't, and you know, leave some comments if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. So until the next video, peace.